Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie Kong's Double Trouble is finally available on the Nintendo Switch. It's a Super Nintendo classic that everyone seems to forget about. Although it lives in the shadows of the first two Donkey Kong games, it's still an incredible game in its own right. With its creative level design, gorgeous graphics, and an amazing soundtrack, it's about time this game gets the recognition it deserves. One question I frequently ask myself while lying in bed at night: why has history forgotten Donkey Kong Country 3? Right off the bat, this game had quite a few things going against it. It came out in November 1996 for the Super Nintendo, almost 2 months after the launch of the brand new Nintendo 64. Who would want to play this when we had this? The second thing is, this guy. Who wants to play as this guy? While Dixie Kong is iconic and even has TikTok stars named after her, her cousin Kitty is the lamest protagonist I've ever seen in a video game. Despite this, it turns out this game is actually fantastic. To catch everyone up on the story of the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, here's a quick recap. In Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong's bananas are kidnapped by King K. Rool. In Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong himself is kidnapped by Captain K. Rool. In Donkey Kong Country 3, Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are kidnapped by the mysterious Chaos. That's it, that's the story, you're all caught up. The gameplay is very similar to the first two games. It's a stylish and challenging platformer. Dixie Kong is back from the second game, complete with her helicopter hairspin to help navigate dangerous jumps. Kitty, on the other hand, feels more like Donkey Kong did in the first game, but he's a little bit faster and can bounce on water for reasons science can't explain. There's a few new types of levels and lots of challenging platforming, and the series tradition of having some kind of minecart level is back. This time you're on a toboggan, which is a word I actually just learned while playing this game. Your animal buddies are also back, and there's a few new ones. Ellie the elephant is great. She can pull in barrels and water and use them against enemies. She's also afraid of mice, and you'll lose control of her if she sees one in the light, which makes some of the levels a little more challenging. To me, it's the little charming things like that make this game really come together as a work of art. It'll probably take you about 5 to 7 hours to finish the game, as long as you're not going for every single collectible, and there are a lot of them. Because you're traveling between different parts of the world by boat, it feels larger than the previous games, but content-wise it's about the same. It has 42 levels and 6 bonus levels, which is just one more level than Donkey Kong Country 2. The art design in this game is top-notch, and the enemies and environments are the standouts here. You'll get to see all the beautiful series staples like forests, boardwalks, snowy mountains, caves, and more. I love the look of the new waterfall levels. They're beautiful. The transition from day to night on some of the levels is a nice touch. And the parallax effects for things like snow are still impressive. They give you that feeling of 3D depth. It's something they've used throughout the series, and it really makes these games stand out as the best looking games on the Super Nintendo. There's a ton of brand new enemies in the game, and they all look awesome. Big respect to Rare, who could have just reused assets and called it a day. Even though this was being released on the aging Super Nintendo, where it would get less attention than an N64 game, you can tell this game was still a labor of love for the developers. The iconic soundtracks of the previous games were composed by David Wise, and while he contributed a handful of tracks to this game, most of the music was done by Evelyn Novakovic. She was already a series veteran, having composed some of the tracks for the first Donkey Kong Country. I'm sure you remember this one. If you've ever gotten that stuck in your head, that's Simian Segway, the work of Evelyn Novakovic from Donkey Kong Country 1. She also happens to be the voice of Joanna Dark from Rare's N64 staple, Perfect Dark. Following up on a soundtrack that's iconic as Donkey Kong Country 2 had to be incredibly hard, but she did some incredible work on this game. There are some absolute jams here. In terms of things specific to the Switch, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I really wish we could remove the borders and the profile picture from the sides of the screen. They're a little distracting. And of course you can now save anywhere you want, which really helps the game from getting too frustrating. I'm not ashamed to admit that sometimes I save several times in a level. I just can't deal with only having one checkpoint these days. What can I say? I'm spoiled by modern gaming. Donkey Kong Country 3 is ultimately more of the same, but more classic Donkey Kong is not a bad thing. It may have been overshadowed by the release of the Nintendo 64, but time has been kind to this game. It's aged well, it's still challenging, and it still looks great. If you have Nintendo Switch Online and enjoy 2D platformers, you have to give this one a try.